Are you considering about making a move to Oregon, or specific the Roseburg area? Well, in this video, I'm going to break down how to make a smooth transition from out of area to the Roseburg area. So with that, let's get on to the video. Hey everybody, I'm Jerry Norman with Oregon Life Homes. I've been selling real estate here for the last few years and I absolutely love it. I too have made a transition across the country to Oregon, and more specific, the Roseburg area, and I absolutely love it. It wasn't an easy move, so I am going to break down in this video how to make your move more smooth. So let's get on to it. All right, first off, so what's making you decide to move to Roseburg? For me, it was a career move. I worked in the casino industry before I got into real estate, and so it brought me here to the Roseburg area. It was a great choice, and I'm glad I did, but what's making you decide? A lot of people I talk to, they are moving because they want to be closer to family. A lot of people are remote workers now. Since COVID, their jobs have gone more remote, and it makes it a much better lifestyle to live here than in a big city. Another reason, healthcare is a huge reason. The healthcare industry here is starving for workers, nurses, doctors. The healthcare workers that I've talked to, it makes financial sense to move here and take on these contracts to work for a few years. So let's dive into some of the pros about living in Roseburg. So yes, Roseburg is a smaller town, but you aren't going to give up too many amenities that big cities have. We have our shopping, we have our dining, although they're very limited, but you do have to give up a little bit of the convenience of a big city for living in the smaller and more community-oriented based. Roseburg does have everything you need. Got decent schools, decent healthcare, plenty of amenities for small town living, but you don't have the big crowds. So first off, you're going to want to research the neighborhoods, and you can check out this other video where I do some walkthroughs to a lot of neighborhoods. One neighborhood that in particular is the Melrose area, and that's just west of town. You're going to have bigger acreage lots, more space, higher prices. However, it's quiet and convenient to the downtown Roseburg area. And if you are in the healthcare industry, all the hospitals and medical facilities are right in downtown Roseburg, which makes it really convenient. From the Melrose neighborhood to downtown is probably about 5 or 10 minutes. So not too bad. And then if you need to go to bigger cities such as Eugene or Medford, those towns are about an hour and a half away. It's usually about a day trip. I usually go up to Eugene about once a month to do some extra shopping and that kind of stuff. Usually a half a day or day trip up there, do what I need to do, and then I come back. And then some other neighborhoods that are more convenient than Melrose would be the Hucrest area, which is right outside of downtown. Basic city lots, really nice quiet communities, really nice area. Also the West Harbor area, which is also really nice. And then also one of my favorite neighborhoods would be the Laurelwood neighborhood. It has got some really nice historic homes. You can check that out in one of my videos as well. For families with children, schools are obviously going to be of big importance. Roseburg has a really good public school system, and also there's some pretty good private schools as well. The Roseburg School District offers great academic programs and a very highly dedicated teacher staff, which makes it a great choice for families. So when you're researching the schools, I use a website called niche.com. It'll grade all the schools. You want to look into the sports program. Roseburg High School has a great athletic department. If you have kids that are growing up into the high school range and need to get into some sports, Roseburg School District would probably be the best for Roseburg High. Roseburg High School also has some great advanced placement programs. We also have the Umpqua Community College, where you can actually take college courses while you're still in high school. Great opportunity for kids. Most areas have something very similar to that, and Roseburg is also included in that as well. So that is an option as well. Next thing you're going to want to do is understand the housing market. So one cool thing about Roseburg sits in Douglas County. Now Douglas County in Corpus is on the I-5 corridor, and one cool thing about Douglas County is It is the second lowest price median sales price by homes in any county that touches the I-5 corridor from Canada to Mexico. Basically, the median sales price here in Douglas County is one of the lowest on the West Coast, so that makes it a big draw for a lot of people moving for lower median sales price. Also, the rent prices are a little lower than average. However, the rental market is extremely competitive. It's very difficult to get into some rental homes, and if you do, most of the time they're going to be on the higher end. But in correlation to larger cities, Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, the cost of living here is so much lower than those major cities. I also did a video on the cost of living compared to the major cities, so you want to check that one out as well on my channel. Also, feel free to download my relocation guide. That's going to help you out as well if you are making that move, and it's going to make it a more smooth transition for that move. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. It helps me out, and I can do more of these videos, so I really appreciate it. And now we're going to get into employment opportunities in Roseburg. So when I moved here for casino work. I was in the casino industry for 20 years. I had family that lived in Oregon, and I also had family that lived in Washington. So I wanted to come back to the West Coast from the East Coast. So I decided to move back here, and Roseburg was a great option. I visited Roseburg a lot, so I knew what I was in for, and that's what brought me here to Oregon. If you are looking to move here for a career change or career work, you're going to want to in place first. You know, like I said before, healthcare is a huge opportunity here. So with so many hospitals and smaller clinics, it's a great opportunity to get into a smaller town with pretty decent salary for the local economy. Additionally, the education is also a good opportunity here as well. And then if you are into labor work such as logging is also a big industry here. There's a couple mills here that are some of the biggest employers in the county. I know a lot of people that work for those mills and they love it. A lot of them have retired from it. There are employment opportunities here, and there is always going to be work here, but it just depends on what career path you are in and want to get into. If you are in more of like an investment or tech type industry, you're probably going to want to look into a different city, one of the bigger cities, Eugene, Medford, Portland, stuff like that. If you are coming from a bigger city, the cost of living here in Roseburg will make a huge difference to you. It's significantly different than the big cities. I also did another video about the cost of living, so you're going to want to check that one out as well. But let's break it down. So in the larger cities, you're going to pay a lot higher sales tax. Sales tax here in Roseburg is under the national average, but it all depends on where you're located. There's a couple cities, there's a couple towns that are actually somewhat high, but that's just compared to the rest of the county. As far as gas prices and food and grocery costs, your money's going to go a little bit farther here. Now, if you are downsizing or retiring to this area, we do have some great healthcare opportunities or healthcare facilities. We've got Mercy Medical. There's also the VA hospital. But if you are going to need any specialty services done, major surgeries and that kind of thing, you're probably going to want to look towards Eugene or the Medford hospitals. And then if you're moving here from a big city, the outdoor recreation opportunities are endless. I like motorcycle riding, so I'm out on my motorcycle a lot, just enjoying the back roads, twisty roads. It's a great time. There's a lot of hiking, waterfalls. There's some hikes that can be extremely intense, or you can just go out for a little browse, you know, through one of the trails to a hike. I also did another video on that as well, just hiking. Those hikes weren't too bad, so it's pretty easy, and you can get to some really cool waterfalls and some really cool areas. Community in the Roseburg and these smaller towns surrounding Roseburg are so tight-knit. There is so many different community events. Most of the towns have some type of free music in the park during the summer times. Roseburg offers music or movies in the park for free, so you pack up your popcorn, your picnic, your dinner, and you just have a nice family time out in the park and the music or watching a movie in the park. Great time. Sutherland does the same thing. Myrtle Creek does the same thing as well. Small, tight-knit communities, they all put on some really great events throughout the summer. Now, the actual move to Roseburg. This is where a lot of people that I talk to, they decide, maybe this isn't for me. Well, there's a bunch of logistics that come to the move. And if you've never made a long distance move, there are a lot of things that come to play. So first off, do you have a house to sell? And if you do, and if you are thinking about making a move to the Roseburg area or anywhere, and you need to sell your home, give me a call, give me a text, message me in the comments. I've got a huge network of real estate agents that I work with, and I'm happy to get you in touch with the right one. So with that, if you need to sell your house, one of the opportunities that's available is what they call a transition loan. I've got a couple lenders that can help you out with that. So also give me a comment or whatever, text me. All my contact information is in the description. I can put you in touch with the right lender. We can figure out what's right for you and how to make that transition here. In some cases, you don't even need to sell your home before buying a home here. There's many opportunities for that. It just all depends on your circumstances. Then it comes to actually purchasing a house and then thinking about how you're going to transition all of your possessions. Are you going to do it on your own, or are you going to hire a mover? Now, I can give you some pretty horror stories about moving companies. I'm sure there's good ones out there. I don't know of any right now. I've had a couple that I've helped. They've used a couple good moving companies, but the one I use, I wouldn't recommend them to my worst enemy. They were horrible. I lost my stuff. I wish I would have just moved myself and rented a truck and just moved across the country with the truck. That would have been a better option for me. You might have a different story. You might not be able to manage that kind of move, but there's a lot of different options, whether you're going to do it yourself or hire it done. So now you have to settle in. And now if you're coming from a bigger city, this could be a culture shock. So I don't want you to have a culture shock before actually deciding to move here. So one of the things is there's no nightlife. Everything pretty much closes down around 10 around here. That's why a lot of people love this area. There are your bars and your hangouts and that kind of stuff. But for the most part, the really nice places, they're closing down about 10 o'clock. So that's one of the things that you're going to want to get used to. And that idea is the slower pace of life. I've worked with some people and they were coming from some bigger cities. And we actually looked at some off-grid properties, which are available around here. And these are up in the hills and you are living on solar, spring water, and all that kind of stuff, and you are off-grid. Everything is off-grid, which might sound like a good idea until you look at these properties. These properties are actually pretty cool, but the idea of moving from a big city to living to an off-grid property, once you're there, you might change your mind. So you could give me a call about that. I can walk you through what you're looking for and to make sure we get the right property that fits you. And then you're going to want to familiarize yourself with the area. Also, that most everything is in my relocation guide, so everything will get you pretty familiarized. I'm happy to help and answer any questions that you might have. You can text me, you can email me. I'm happy to answer any questions about helping you get familiarized with the town. And then the local government. So the local government is more community-based. I know there's going to be people that give me a lot of comments down here about, overextending their terms or whatever, but I'm pretty neutral as far when it comes to government, so it really doesn't matter to me. But local government is more community-based, and everything is based right into downtown Roseburg, which is the county seat. Then also when you move here, you're also going to want to think about your DMV stuff, your car registration, your driver's license. I do have a secret for that. Instead of waiting an hour in downtown Roseburg, you can go just 20 minutes south to Caneyville, and usually you're in and out in a matter of no time. So no lines and a DMV. That is amazing. So that's where I always go to, and I'm always happy to give you information on that. And then if you are thinking about transportation here in Roseburg, for the transportation aspect, most people here drive. Roseburg being so centralized on the freeway, you can be to any of the other towns. For me, I live in Myrtle Creek, which is about 20 minutes south of Roseburg, and I can be in Roseburg in about 20 minutes. Just jump on the freeway and there I am. No big deal. There are some people that rely on the public transportation, which is a lot more minimal than any bigger cities. There's sometimes an Uber, and then if you are in the Roseburg area, you do have like the food deliveries. There's a little bit of those as well. But if you're in the smaller towns, you're pretty much going to have to do all that yourself. And then as far as air travel, being in Roseburg, you have a really good opportunity. So there's two major airports. One is in Eugene and one is down in Medford. They're roughly about the same distance apart. Maybe Eugene is a little closer. It's a great opportunity because you can shop for flights at a boat. I fly out of Eugene. Sometimes I fly out of Medford. I prefer myself to fly out of Medford, but when I am traveling, it just all depends. I just look at what time I want to leave, and I can usually find a flight between the two cities. So shopping and dining. Roseburg does have a lot of local shops and a lot of local restaurants and breweries. However, if you are coming from a bigger town, they are going to seem very minimal. I've eaten at almost every restaurant in the county. There's not a lot of choices, but there are some really good options. As far as shopping goes, there really isn't a mall, so you are going to need to go to Eugene or Medford for your mall type stuff, or you just use online Amazon or whatever. I do all my shopping online. It makes it a lot easier. I don't have to go to that mall and fight parking lots, and it makes it a lot easier. So some people it does. So if you are moving from a big town, then that's going to be an issue for you. And then that brings us to the slower pace of life. If you are moving from a big town, I know when I moved from Coma to back east to a small little farm town, it was a little bit of a culture shock. I wasn't used to it, and not having all the amenities around you, that was a big culture shock. So that's something you're going to want to look into. And most people that I do talk to that are looking to move from California or from Washington to Oregon, that's what they're looking for. So if that's not you, might not be an option. You might want to look into one of the bigger towns, but for the most part, people that I talk to, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for a slower pace of life. Now, when you do move here, it isn't like being in a big town where you might not know your neighbor because of them moving in and out, or whatever. Most likely you're going to know your neighbors. They're not being nosy. They're just being friendly for the most part. A lot of people just kind of stick to their own. And then one of the other things is people moving from California, they're so worried about, they hate people moving from California. Now, there are probably going to be comments in here, don't move. That's not the case. Most people, once you move here, as long as you don't push your political issues, religion issues, everybody around here just kind of wants to be left alone. Live and let live is the way it is. Don't be afraid to move from California to Oregon, even though some of the comments that I'll probably get will probably be like, oh, you're that. But don't worry about all that. Everybody that I've worked with that have moved from California, they absolutely love it, and they are fitting in well here. So that being said, let the haters go on the comments. And for that, hopefully you got a lot of information out of this video. And if you did, I'd love to hear from you. Give me a call, text, email if you are looking to move to this area. That way I can get you put into the right area and find the right fit for you and see what you actually need. And if you did get some value out of that, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And with that, we'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day.